Okay, question for the guys. When you get a massage, do you prefer a male or female therapist? I feel like no one talks about this, but today it got a little awkward. So we're in Lombok, Indonesia, and we decided to do this waterfall trek where you visit 4 different waterfalls in one go. We stopped for some snacks on the way by a local, grabbed some banana chips and this random thing that was wrapped in leaf. I had no idea what it was, but I gave it a go. Turns out it was just sticky rice with coconut. It was actually pretty good. I popped on my $2 sunnies and we were headed into the jungle, and oh my god, guys, both of my sisters were there to greet me. It was wild. Then one of them tried to attack my husband, which, if you know my family dynamic, it actually checks out. We made it to the first waterfall and I was so glad I wore my Nike Air Rifts. They are so comfortable, have the best grip, and still the coolest shoe out there. No one can tell me otherwise. We also randomly ran into our builder. He's building our home here in Lombok. He said he was using this trek as a training for Mount Rinjani, which is this massive active volcano on the island. The full Rinjani hike takes days and is known as one of the hardest in Indonesia. So when he said that he was training here, I was like, wait, if this is his training ground, how hard is this hike actually going to be today? Okay, so the first 2 waterfalls were manageable. They were beautiful and scenic, but getting to the 3rd and 4th, that's where the trail went rogue. Like full uphill climbs, narrow cliff edges, side paths with drop-offs. No wonder people stopped at the second one. It was wild. We made it to the 3rd waterfall, jumped in, and it was absolutely freezing, but honestly, it was so worth it. Then we pushed on to the 4th, and that part of the trail was even more intense. It was steep, it was slippery, it was also super narrow in some spots, but we were already this far, so we just kept going. By the time we got there, we were actually both pretty cold, so we ended up trekking all the way back. I was actually cooked. I passed out in the car the second I sat down. Once we got back to the resort, we booked in a massage. Now here is when things got a little awkward. So there was one female therapist and one male. My husband asked for the female. He says that male therapists make him feel kind of weird, so I offered to swap, thinking it was no big deal. But then the vibe kind of shifted, and then I had realized we are in Lombok, where the majority of locals practice Islam, and in the Islamic culture, men usually avoid touching women who aren't their wives or their family. So it totally made sense. The male therapist probably wasn't comfortable with it, and I totally respected that. So we just left it as it was, and ironically, my husband actually ended up loving his massage. We headed back to the room, jumped in the shower, popped on a face mask, and that was our day done.